Do you trade Bucky? Do you trade Hampton? If you've got these guys, do you maneuver on out of this situation and grab a player that's not missing time? The answer might be you have to. Doesn't mean you do. Depends on the situation. We'll break that down when it's smart to trade Bucky or Hampton. When it's not, the Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Not everybody should be trying to trade Bucky in Hampton. Let me just clarify the parameters real quickly before we move on. If you have 4 wins or more, you shouldn't be freaking out about Bucky Irving missing 1 or 2 games. If you have Hampton and you got 4, especially 5 wins, you might want to potentially pump the brakes. Now, you're going to get a lot less in return for a guy that's out a minimum of 4 weeks than a guy that might be out 1 or 2 weeks more. And so we'll have to talk about what that return looks like. But you probably have to consider trading both of these guys, whether you own one or both of them, if you are a two-win team, a 1-win team, a 0-win team, because you can't wait. You can't wait on Hampton, especially. You can't wait on Bucky, even if you need wins and you can't wait 2 weeks or you'll be out of the running. You got 1 win. You got to maneuver on out. The way to trade Bucky Irving, and it pains me to even say those words, it would be to try and acquire an anchor of the trade. Then you go to those teams and see what they have. It really starts with the anchor player. This is how you concoct a trade, how you cook something up. Who's the anchored player? Let's just start off with Ladd McConkey, one of my favorite go-get players. You're trying to get Ladd and something for Bucky. That is the trade at hand. And so we got to ask ourselves what player we can go get and cook up on the Ladd team to get away with as much as we can get away with. And so combing through running backs, you might find someone that has Breece Hall. That might be hard to get. It might not be hard to get. It depends on the owner of Breece Hall. It depends on their record. Maybe they're sitting there going, I can weather through this. I'm 4 wins. I'm 5 wins. That is important too. You might want to just take all the teams and say, who's got 4 and 5 wins? Okay. Now, what player, what anchor can I find on all these teams? Oh, there's Ladd. Now I can go to the Bucky or go to the Hall owner and say, I'll give you Bucky for Hall and Ladd. They can wait on it. The other component, too, would be that you also, if you have Rachaad White, you don't need to make this trade. You could hold off and let White do his thing. That's certainly a possibility. That's certainly a good possibility. It's certainly a very good direction to take. You know, especially if you have 3 or 4 wins, you'd be better off just holding on to Rachaad White and running that out there for the next handful of weeks. But let's say you're not in that situation. Let's say you come across a 4-win team that has Devontae Adams. We'll keep the receiver over here to make this simple and to let the brain click with it. Adams, and let's say there is a JCM. This is something that you can contemplate for sure. Let's say they have a ETN who did not play well in his last outing, and so his owner is panicking. And I'm seeing people say, would you rather have ETN or crazy names that are getting thrown out, like Carter? Moving forward, I don't understand why the ETN hate just gets cooked up right away after one bad game. But ETN probably gets you a lot less in return at the wide receiver front. You're not getting an Adams. You're not getting someone of that caliber, but you might still very well get that Ladd McConkey. And I'm not saying that every ETN owner has Ladd McConkey, so we got to go find another player. Now, JMO's pretty good too, and I know people are mad at JMO right now, but hence why you can get him in a deal. This is pretty good right here. Now, let's say it's not ETN. Let's say it's JMO is still the guy we're talking about on this side. You could potentially go after, it does get pretty hard to find and pinpoint players that make a lot of sense in this territory. Like, for example, if this was Scat, it would probably need to be a better wide receiver, a more consistent wide receiver. Now, this would be pushing it. It would be something you consider, but it would be definitely pushing the envelope a little bit. I would be more apt to go after a Scattaboo, let's say, if there was a wide receiver like, Pickens is iffy, DK's kind of interesting. Adams really makes a ton of sense because he's got that potential wide receiver 1 value. MHJ would make some sense as well. That would be a pretty solid maneuver. BTJ would also be something that I would strongly consider. And all those players still apply if this was JCM and it was BTJ and it was MHJ and it was, of course, Devontae Adams. I really love that move. These are just a handful of ways to try and get out of the Bucky game. If you need to get out of the Bucky game, if you can't afford to wait on Bucky, you don't have Rachaad White. If you got Rachaad White, again, cancel everything. Just move on to the Hampton part of the show. No, don't, because you might gain some sort of idea watching this entire thing. But this is, another player you could consider is, depending on what running back you could get here, but Evans will be coming back. And he'll still be valuable. Of course, I would do this straight up 1-for-1 if I could pull that off. That might be the best maneuver you could possibly make on this Bucky trading into another player. And only if this person's 0-5. They're 0-5, they're 0-6. If you're doing this next week. But having to wait one more game is going to be tough for a person that's got 0 wins, 1 win. And the person that has Rice probably didn't plan well. So they're probably at 1 win or 0 wins. So consider this a move that might be easier to make than you think. That's Bucky. I personally going to hold Bucky in as many leagues as I can. My overall outlook for Bucky, just so people know, I still think per start, he's probably looking at, I would say, 6 to 10 running back numbers, but that could be like one game after he comes back too. So you got to consider that. But I still love Bucky. I'm still feeling like it could be a 2-game thing. There is still a threat that this becomes something different. Bucky keeps putting all these like messages of positivity and like, your back's against the wall, or, there is a plan. Like all that is a little alarming to be reading a consistent amount of that stuff when it's 1 or 2 games. So there is some concern. This is why this is a conversation you need to have, and you got to make the right call at the right time for the right team as it relates to Bucky. Now for Hampton. So Hampton is a player that you're going to have to, there's a lot bigger waiting game going on here, because Hampton is out for maybe 4+ games. It could be 4, but it could be 4+ games. We don't know if it's 5. We don't know if it's 6. Even if he comes back after 4, maybe he's, sluggish. Maybe Vidal or Haskins, whoever's doing the work, is doing so well that they just kind of keep a rotation going to keep him healthy, and we're frustrated with that rotation. So Hampton's somebody I'm definitely trading. And in Haskins and Vidal, we don't know which one is going to be the guy. But if you're trying to send Hampton away, this is going to be a tougher trade to make. You also need to go filter through the 4 or 5 win teams. I don't think anybody with 2 wins is going to go after Hampton. I don't think anybody with 3 is going to be pushing it. They'd have to be a crazy man like me that would be like, I can figure this out. But there's definitely a world where I probably try and get 1 player, but I could definitely take 2 as well. We'll go over kind of different scenarios. Hampton gonna have to dig kind of deep. This might be one of those Hendy conversations and Harvey conversations where you're taking a player like this and you're getting Ladd McConkey and you're saying, damn, I skated out of that pretty good, because I believe that both of these guys could hang with Hampton if they're on their horse, doing their thing. This would be the most ideal way out of Hampton I could think of. And you could even throw Hendy into some of those Bucky situations, by the way. You could definitely look at Hendy and something for Bucky if you wanted to. It's just a little bit riskier because Hendy's not there yet, but that's certainly an avenue. So in retrospect, I should have also mentioned Hendy and Ladd Hendy and something for Bucky. But this would be the most ideal way out of this situation for sure. And then another player that would come to mind would be JMO. I still like JMO a lot. This is fantastic. I think in some cases you could add a little more on this side and make this a creative 2-for-1 yourself. And you're getting Derrick Henry, who his owner is thinking is trash. You're getting Saquon Barkley, who his owner is worried like crazy about Barkley. And so the player you add here, you have to maybe make this a significant piece, maybe not. You know, QJ comes to mind continuously, QJ for this type of maneuver. You know, another receiver, like potentially you could throw in Pearsall, you could throw in Devontae Smith, you could throw in Addison, you know, to make things like this work. But ultimately, my favorite avenue would for sure be Hendy and Ladd. That's how you trade away Bucky, Hampton, and if you should even do it. Don't forget, my Patreon is 24/7, 365 live chat group, $10 a month, cancel anytime. That link's in the description of the video. Don't forget, you can play $5 and get 100 in bonus funds on Underdog using code Smitty. That link is in the description of the video, so go check out both those links. And know that I'm live Monday through Friday, every single Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm also additionally live whenever big news breaks, like the Joe Flacco news today, for example, or yesterday. And I'm live at midnight Eastern almost every single night. I'll see you all on the next one. Appreciate you.